Hello guys, welcome back to Flashback Flicks. Get ready for a quick dive into today's movie recap. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Today, we'll recap the 2019 family adventure movie Mosley. So, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and let's dive into this heartwarming tale. In a world where a powerful species is enslaved, losing their strength and dignity, one individual decides to reclaim what's been taken. Meet Buse, who is a clever salesman and runs a traveling auction. He always brings unique items from all over the world and sells them to village people at a high price. Tonight, he has brought something that will leave his customers in shock. Villagers often use mules or cows to work in the fields, but these animals don't have a trace of intelligence. It would be great if there were slaves with unbeatable strength who are sensible as well. Saying this, Buse brings out a group of special animals called Thoriphants. They look like small elephants and definitely have more strength than normal cattle. But the highlight is that Thoriphants can talk. Besides working in the fields, they can also do some house chores. Buse grabs a small Thoriphant named Mosley and starts the auction. The poor creature keeps calling for his mother, but no one cares, and Mosley gets sold for $800. 25 years have passed since Mosley started working as a slave. He has already started a family with his mate, Bara, and he has a son, Rue. Every day, Mosley wakes up early in the morning to accompany his master, Simon. He works non-stop in the fields and also does some other chores. Suddenly, Buse passes by and stops to check on Simon. At first, he tries selling his hair growth serum, and then he tries to convince Simon to sell Rue. Simon believes that Rue is still too young and may keep him for future use. Buse advises Simon to think like a businessman and plan to buy the nearby fields. He suggests Simon sell Rue and use that money to buy more land to expand his farming. Mosley interrupts them and says that the nearby land is not suitable for agriculture. Simon almost agrees with him, but Buse mocks him for taking advice from an animal. Hearing this, Simon hits Mosley and sends him back to the barn. To cheer him up, Bara tells Mosley that she is pregnant, and this time it may be a girl. Mosley is delighted to hear that and wishes the best for his kids. He gets ready to sleep, but Rue reminds him of the promise he made last night. Rue wants to show his new hiding place to his dad, a cave in the gullies with special characteristics. Mosley, tired, refuses to go, but what Rue says next changes his mind. Rue asks how wonderful it would be if they had hands. The cave made Rue think this, so Mosley becomes curious too. They travel far into the jungle and reach a deep hole. A bunch of fireflies follows Rue and helps him find the way. The hole leads them to a cave with several ancient drawings on the walls. The creatures in the drawings seem to be Thoriphants, but they are a little different. They stand on 2 feet and wear clothes like humans. This reminds Mosley of his childhood. One of his elders, named Mr. Turpin, used to draw such drawings. He told Mosley that once there were 2 great families of Thoriphants. One fled to the north to escape the evil of men, while the other was left behind. Mosley and his family are descendants of those who remained. Over time, under the oppression of men, they changed. Their hands became useless, so they started walking on 4 feet, and their strong backs bent for labor. Those who escaped thought they were the last Thoriphants in the world, but some believe that one day they will come back, marching through the fields to rescue their families. They will be 10 feet tall with massive hands. Mosley waited for them for almost 30 years, but the upright Thoriphants never came to rescue him. Mosley advises Rue and Bara to forget what they saw in the cave. The uprights are just a fairy tale. Saying this, Mosley goes to sleep. The next morning, Buse returns and forces Simon to sell Rue. Many farmers want to buy a young calf, so Simon could get a huge profit. Simon finally agrees to sell Rue but decides to wait until the next calf is born. The Thoriphants are really worried and start discussing what to do next. Bara suggests going to the cave and searching for the uprights for help, but Mosley doesn't agree. He believes it's just a fairy tale. Bara says if she were in his place, she would keep running until she found the uprights. Later that day, Mosley works with Simon in the new field, but it's full of stones. The plow gets stuck, and Simon forces Mosley to keep pulling. The plow eventually breaks, and Simon becomes furious. He blames Buse for forcing him to buy useless land. While they are arguing, Rue rushes to talk to his dad. Mosley is fed up with his life of slavery and decides to take a step. He's going to the cave to find the uprights. Until he returns, Rue has to take care of his mother and his upcoming sibling. After advising his son, Mosley starts running towards the forest and hides in the cave. Simon returns to his farm and changes his mind about selling Rue. Buse gives him another offer. There's a man named Warfield, an expert at dealing with thorns. Buse promises to bring him tomorrow, and they will search for Mosley. Later that night, when Buse returns to the town, his Thorin, Turpin, meets one of his friends. The friend tells Turpin about a series of caves located in the middle of the jungle. These caves have drawings of uprights meant to lure the Thorin, but it's all just a trap. The next day, Buse and Turpin go to Simon, and they have also brought Warfield. He's a scary, muscular guy who doesn't talk much. He's a Thorin hunter and he never fails. Rue gets worried for his dad and runs to stop Warfield, but Turpin gets in the way. He knows that Mosley must have already been trapped in the caves, and Warfield will find him easily. Buse's assistants also follow Warfield out of curiosity. They reach the cave where Mosley is stuck inside a deep pit. Warfield catches the men and throws them into the same pit. Mosley uses the men to jump out of the pit and starts running away. He reaches a waterfall and tries jumping to the other side. Warfield follows him with a bow and arrow. To escape the cruel men, Mosley takes a high jump. Unfortunately, he doesn't make it to the other side and falls into the water. Warfield hangs down on a rope to look for Mosley but doesn't find him at all. Meanwhile, Mosley survives and wakes up in a cave that looks like an ancient palace where someone used to live. Mosley notices a person following him, so he tries to hide, but then he sees something totally unbelievable. It's the uprights, 3 old Thorins who stand on 2 feet and wear clothes. They introduce themselves as Wary and Dvir. They are brothers who came looking for their oldest member, Galen. Due to old age, Galen has lost his senses and came to this cave to talk to the statues. Thorins used to live here, but they migrated almost 100 years ago. However, Galen claims to have visions of fireflies who guide him to this place. Mosley immediately says that he was also guided by the fireflies. Their meeting is the fulfillment of a prophecy. The uprights are fated to save their enslaved families. Mosley explains how the humans are torturing them and cause the changes in their bodies. He requests the uprights take him back to their city so they can gather the army to rescue their mates. Dvir looks doubtful about that, but Wary says they will surely help them. Mosley gets really happy to hear that and joins the uprights on their journey. Little does he know, Warfield is still after him. On the way, Dvir tells Mosley more about the uses of hands. He even introduces each finger one by one. Mosley gets really excited to hear that and wishes Rue could be here too. The little kid would be so happy to see his fantasies becoming a reality. After a while, they reach a thick forest called the Great Orchard. The upright city, Kurth, lies on the other side, but they must travel around the forest and never dare to enter the Great Orchard. It's haunted. Legends say that the world began from here, but then a great corruption destroyed everything. A curse arose and spread around the world. This curse might be responsible for changes in the Thorins. Mosley suddenly notices a cave under the orchard. It could be a shortcut to the city. The Thorins decide to check it out, but as soon as they get inside, the trees above start to tremble and shoot inside the cave. Dvir and Wary get out from the top, but Galen refuses to move. Mosley picks him up on his back and runs outside. They give up on the shortcut and take the long old path. As the night sets in, they set up camp and enjoy dinner. However, Mosley seems a little sad. He is missing his family. He starts telling the uprights about his son. Rue is a really energetic and adventurous boy. He's always poking around somewhere he doesn't belong. Mosley is totally right. Even right now, in the middle of the night, Rue is roaming around the farm. He meets Turpin and asks about the uprights. Turpin has grown really old, but he still believes that the uprights will come one day to rescue them. Meanwhile, Mosley can't sleep peacefully because Galen keeps wandering around. He reaches the edge of a cliff and wants to jump off. While Wary and Dvir try to stop him, Mosley notices someone behind them. It's Warfield. They have no place to run away. Galen tells Mosley to trust the fireflies. They are leading them. Mosley gathers courage and steps off the edge. The fireflies gather around his feet and carry him in the air. Wary and Dvir follow them too, and they fly for a few miles. They can already see Kurth from here. The fireflies put them down, and they may continue walking to their destiny. The next morning, they reach the city. Dvor asks Wary to reveal the whole truth, but it's too late now. Mosley excitedly runs inside the legendary city and greets all the uprights. Soon, he notices something weird and stops. All the Thorins here are so old. Wary apologizes for not telling Mosley before, but the uprights are dying. There hasn't been a child born to them in 100 years. Dvor is the youngest among them. The uprights will go extinct soon, but that's not the worst part. The curse wants them to lose their sense of thinking. They have brought Mosley here so they can figure out a solution together. Mosley wants to return to his family, but Wary begs him to at least meet their queen. The uprights are also his family, and they need him. The queen gets really sad to hear what Mosley went through and regrets not knowing that earlier. They are ready to help now, but Mosley thinks they are too old to fight the humans. Suddenly, a Thorin informs them about the hunter's arrival. The uprights gather at the door and ask Warfield what he wants. Warfield doesn't reply and shoots an arrow at them. It hits the poor Galen, and he falls down. Mosley picks him up and takes him inside the palace, but Galen dies in an instant. Warfield can take down all the uprights alone, so Mosley asks them to hide in a safe place. He is ready to sacrifice himself. Seeing his selflessness, the queen says Mosley is the most upright Thorin she has ever met. There's still hope to reverse the curse. The great orchard has a living tree, and its fruit can cure the Thorins. Mosley gets ready to find it, but he suddenly remembers that it's time for his child's birth. Bara is struggling with delivery and asks Rue to do something. The kid gets scared at first, but then he gathers courage and rushes to wake up Simon. Meanwhile, Mosley faces Warfield alone and takes him to the forest. He keeps following the fireflies, but Warfield is after him too. He shoots an arrow at Mosley and asks him to give up. Mosley is not holding back anymore and stands against Warfield. The hunter tries to put a harness around him, but Mosley breaks the rope and runs after the fireflies. He is just a few steps away from the tree, but Warfield shoots another arrow. He proceeds to kill Mosley, but a mysterious creature stops him. He's made of light and disappears with Mosley. He takes Mosley back to Kurth and reveals that he was the one who guided him through the fireflies. He asks Mosley what he wants in exchange for his firm beliefs. Mosley immediately says that he wants his family to be free. The light creature gives him some magical fruits and disappears. The next morning, Buse arrives at the farm to take away Rue. The poor kid accepts his fate and tells his newborn sister to take care of their mother. Suddenly, someone walks there from the forest. It's 10 feet tall with big arms. It's Mosley. He kicks Simon aside and greets his family. Then he gives them the magical fruits, which turn all of them upright. Mosley hugs his family, and they travel back to their new home, Kurth. Slavery is the condition of your mind. Once you realize how much you need freedom, no one can stop you from getting that. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the recap. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment to Flashback Flicks. Until next time, bye, take care.